Hi guys, and welcome to the show. This week we'll be talking to Sabina and Robin from Farawayistan and all the incredible journeys in bikepacking that they have done. Here's a few things that we'll be hearing from them today.
It can be as easy just bring one small bag of clothing and go out on a small little overnighter somewhere. Just fun traveling by bike, go out.
Like, okay, cool, that's fun. You can definitely come. We are having a good time, so yes. But we should go by bike. And I had never cycled on a hill before, even let alone a mountain. And then with all those heavy panniers.
It was almost 1.5 years.
Yeah.
So let's get that interview going. Hello Sabina and hello Robin. How are you tonight?
Hi, we're good, thanks.
Yeah, we're good.
Perfect.
Hey, welcome.
Thank you. This is awesome. So I'm sitting here in the dark parts of Germany. You can see it's kind of dark and I hate the darkness. And you guys are in the southern parts of Sweden, in Malmö, right?
Yeah, it's even darker a little bit earlier here, I think. But it's
Yeah,
probably
probably. But tell me, you live in Malmö, but you are not really from Malmö, none of you, right? Or am I right about that?
I
You are,
actually
Sabina.
am born in Malmö.
Oh, you
But
are.
not
Okay.
raised. I am raised in the Netherlands.
Oh,
Yes.
Robin is born and raised
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
Netherlands. So
and you are Dutch by blood. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, Sabina brought me here. She's the reason I ended up here in the southern tip of Sweden. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, but I was the other person. My wife is German, so I dragged her to Sweden for a couple of years, and here we are now. We kind of live both in Sweden and in Germany. So it's yeah. I feel you. I feel you. So are you guys speaking Dutch or English in between you guys?
We speak Dutch with each other.
Yep.
Oh, you do.
Yeah. My Swedish is it's not great.
No, but I would figure maybe that you would speak English, maybe. But you're speaking Dutch then.
But
Okay.
I'm raised
So
in the Netherlands.
you're fluent in Dutch as well, Sabina.
Yeah. I'm raised in the Netherlands by a Dutch mother. So
She's only born in Malmö, and
I'm a fake Malmöite.
she moved to the Netherlands when she was one,
No.
Got you.
not even one,
No.
and then she lived there for 30 years.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Thank you very much for joining the show. This has been such a long time coming, to be honest. I've been wanting to talk to you guys about all your adventures and everything. I first think that I saw you on Instagram many years ago now, 4 or 5 years ago or so, a bunch of time when I started, I guess.
I
And
think it
I
was
was so
3
super
or 4.
stoked. Sorry.
Oh, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago when we just moved to Malmö because you had that shared Instagram account, right?
Correct. That's how I got started. The account that I had, the Graveloholic account, it used to be Skåne Gravel Squad,
Yeah, exactly.
and that was actually how I sort of tried to sort of get to know people in Malmö and started to ride with people, and so that's yeah. I kind of started. I don't want to say that I started stalking people, but almost.
I think we've done probably the same with our Instagram account because it is always so nice to meet other people through it. And especially with the shared account, it has just been quite a safe way to reach out to people. And yeah, you have the same hobby, and you are, when we were traveling, we reached out to people, for example, that would be in the same areas as we, or they were maybe cycling a couple 100 kilometers ahead of us. So we would check in with them, like, what is the route like? What is it? Is the road even open? And well, those scenarios can probably still happen in Malmö or in Skåne as well. You just share routes with each other and you meet up for rides. So
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
a really
No.
nice
plus we didn't really know anyone before we
not
moved here
cycling
besides
people.
your dad, your family.
Mhm.
But besides that, we didn't know anything. So we just started following a bunch of accounts, including yours. Also, some accounts from Stockholm, which is not that
No.
near Malmö,
No.
but
So far.
it's still Sweden. But
It was a big country, huh?
we actually met some people, and it took a while before we were merging or blending in the local cycling community here. But now I think now we're there, and
We're a
it's
staple now.
yeah.
Now people are reaching out
Awesome.
to us.
Yeah, I'm a little bit, and that's what I wanted to say as well. I'm a little bit bummed about that we never got to ride together. We tried a couple of times, but then it never worked out for different reasons. And yeah, but maybe we'll do it in the future. But now at least we get to talk now during this show, so I'm super excited about that.
It's
But
we didn't even have gravel bikes when we came here, when we
No,
touched base in Malmö.
no.
true,
No.
true. Yeah, that's a perfect segue to my first question that I want to ask you guys. So I know that you have a couple few different kinds of bikes, right? But tell me a little bit about what kind of bikes do you ride and why do you ride them?
You want to go first?
Yeah,
You have the most bikes. You
I
have
have the
the
most
biggest
bikes.
collection here in the apartment.
As
So
it should be. Well, so I really started cycling um, for our longer trip that we did. We cycled um, for I think about 9 or 10 months, and then we had really heavy steel touring bikes with super thick Schwalbe marathon tires that are impossible to get a puncture in, but they also weigh like 3 kilograms each. And they will do the job. They will get you forward. So for a trip like that, that is perfect. But when we then moved to Sweden, we were still using those bikes. But I was so frustrated because it was so slow. And everyone was riding these super bikes because, of course, in Sweden, everyone, and I think it's in whole Scandinavia, people ride ridiculous, expensive bikes. It kind of makes you jealous. So then we started looking at gravel bikes and we got into aero gravel bikes, and that really made sure that we could expand our radius and really get a little bit further around our local area and do
Hmm.
longer rides. Um, yeah, so that's how we kind of, because we were already gravel cycling, but we were just using touring bikes, and that works, but it's just slow. So I think then we went up from 16 kilometers per hour to not that much faster to 21 or 22. So
A big difference.
exactly, exactly. And after that, I wanted to explore different types of cycling because if I'm always doing the same thing, I kind of get bored. So yeah, we also started to doing more ultra cycling, and I wanted to have a suitable bike for that as well. And Robin was the one picking the races, and for some reason he always picks very difficult routes and races. So the first race we did there was it was a mountain biking race. So then I needed a mountain bike, of course. And last summer I really wanted to start road cycling to really get part of the community, because we have a really good road cycling community here in Malmö with a local bike shop called Muset. And so then
Know
I
them
needed a
very
road
well.
bike as well. And yeah, now I started cyclocross, but I haven't bought a cyclocross bike yet. So
Yeah, I've seen that on the pictures. You used the 3T Exploro for that. But I mean, as
it
as any
works.
bike is a gravel bike, any bike can be used for cross as well, right? So I don't think it's a bad bike in any kind of way to use for that.
Yeah, no, definitely. It works. It's just the arrow down tube is not perfect for the
For the
hand,
carrying, yeah.
get your bike or your shoulder through it. But I mean, yeah, it works. It does the job.
Awesome. Thank you very much. How about you, Robin? You said that she has more than you.
Yeah,
That's not
she has.
off
Yeah,
the
for
table.
me, it's a little different because I don't have a mountain bike. I don't have a road bike. I'll stick to gravel. That's uh,
Hmm.
that's my thing. I really like being out in the forest. Quite often, I bring my photo camera and just go for hours by myself. I still do have a bikepacking specific bike. That's something I would probably always have in my bike park.
Hmm.
That's because that's after all how it all started.
But that's not a bike. That's a tractor.
It's it's yeah, it is slow.
It's crazy.
It's basically a steel drop bar mountain bike with a rigid fork and 2.25-inch tires, 29.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so when we were doing the race, I was on a carbon hardtail mountain bike, and Robin was on a steel
Yeah.
drop bar hardtail or
With yeah,
rigid mountain bike, you can call it.
With
with
no
arrow
suspension
bars.
at all,
No
just the
suspension.
tires as suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So it
That's
was
brave.
had drops and even arrow bars. So it was the ultimate Frankenstein, the ultimate Frankenstein. But I love it. It's so much fun. It does everything. It goes well on trails, on gravel roads, on tarmac. No, not the fastest, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. But circling back to what we talked about, what you mentioned a little bit earlier, Sabina, you talked about that you have this shared account, and that is Farawayistan, and then you have your own private accounts, of course, your personal accounts. But this Farawayistan, it's when I was a kid, and we kind of made jokes about things that was way sort of beyond the horizon, and places that we would never ever see in our whole life. We always called it blah 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 something Istan. uh, so I when I saw your name, that tagline, and I want to read actually from your webpage what you have defined as why you have what that means, Farawayistan: a proverbial faraway destination which exists only beyond country borders. The suffix stan is derived from the Persian translation for place or country. So I actually learned something there. I had no idea that's the case. Of course, you know that there are some countries that has that in the name as well. And that's kind of where I came from. But tell me a little bit and talk to me about this name. How did you come up with this, and where did it come from, and where did it all start?
To be very honest, it all kind of started as a joke. It's a fictive place coming from Donald Duck. I think in Swedish it's called Kala Anka.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
There's
honestly where we got it from.
yeah, there's a fictive place where if you travel somewhere strange or off the beaten track, then they were referring to the place Farawayistan. And we
Oh,
did
really?
this long journey, and we rode our bikes through all the former Soviet countries, which coincidentally end with Stan. So Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan. So every time we told the story of the places where we were traveling to, then everyone said something like, "Oh, you're going too far away, Stan."
But then in Dutch, so it would be Verwegistan.
Yeah, it is a translation from Dutch, and it maybe doesn't really translate that well into English, but we still think it's a funny name.
I think it's epic. I love the name.
And the funny thing is that it hadn't been coined yet in English, but I know that
Hmm.
you have it in Dutch then, Verwegistan, and
Hmm.
you also have it in Swedish,
Hmm.
Långtbortistan. I don't know if
Exactly.
there's
That's where it is in Swedish.
but I don't know if
Yeah.
there's a German version as well. But the English one, yeah, that's just no one used it, so we claimed it.
Awesome. I need to ask my wife if there's a similar kind of thing in German as well.
If she knows, yeah. Let us know. We don't know, to be honest.
But was this then the big bikepacking where it all started? That's the trip that you're referring to. Tell me about that trip. How did you come up with such a crazy idea to do that?
Well, when we met on our first date, I was like, okay, don't get too attached to me. I want to travel and I will be out of here quite soon. But I wasn't a cyclist at the time, and Robin was already road cycling for fun every now and then. And he was also following a lot of people on social media that were doing these types of long bike travels. And he started convincing me, like, hey, I want to come. Like, okay, cool, that's fun. You can definitely come. We are having a good time. So, yes, but we should go by bike. Okay, that was a bit of a change of a plan. But at the same time, it you were showing me these Instagram accounts and websites of people that were doing it, and they just seemed to be having such a great time. It was so
Hmm.
inspiring to follow these people and see their journeys and just see how happy they were, and honestly, a lot happier than I've seen a lot of backpackers or people that are traveling normally. Because when you travel, what do? Okay, you wake up, You need to go eat something. Then you need to find something to do. Then you need to find a restaurant again. Then maybe you need to kill some time. You're basically eating and killing time. But no, you can be biking and eating.
Yeah, that was. I think that was exactly my reason to do this trip, because I did a long backpacking trip before where I traveled as much as I could overland to Japan. So all the way across Europe, Russia, and then I took a flight from Russia to Japan. That was the end. But during that trip, I realized that most of the time you're sitting in a bus or in a train, and that's just basically killing time.
Hmm.
And then I kind of stumbled upon some Instagram accounts, and I was like, okay, maybe I could combine something like this, traveling this far, with traveling by bike. But then I
but
still had to convince. Then I still had to convince Sabina. That was that was maybe the
this
hardest part.
is actually your first like kind of trip together as a
Yeah,
couple?
We
no, we
did
did.
we did some trial trips
Okay,
in the Netherlands before. Yeah.
Yeah, we had
okay,
to save up money for it before we left because we actually really left everything behind. We were planning on going for who knows how long. But then we did a short trip to Zeeland, which is a province in the Netherlands, as a test trip when we had bought all of our stuff. So this was when we had already like bought everything. We had the bikes, we had the tent, we had everything. It was quite an investment. And then we did one weekend test trip, and it was the windiest province in the Netherlands, or one of. Actually, all of them are, but you know, it's the Netherlands. We don't have hills, we have wind.
exactly. The Dutch hills.
But it was quite a heavy storm, and we were having the headwind the whole day long, and it was brutal. But we were still having such a good time.
Yeah.
When we at the end of the day tried to pitch our tent, it was blowing away, and we
Almost.
were still smiling when we were trying to test our stove to make our dinner. We couldn't get it on because there was too much wind and the flame didn't catch on. We were still having fun. Like, we were constantly laughing and having such a good time. Then we thought, okay, well, this is gonna be fine. This is
Okay.
gonna be a nice experience.
And for how long were you gone then when you went?
I think so we cycled for, I think, about 6 or 7 months at first, and
Wow.
then,
No, it was much longer. It was over 1.5 year in total.
yes, of course, but we spent some time in Kazakhstan because my family visited me there, of all places. And we also spent a little bit of time on India, um,
Yeah, we had a holiday
from cycling.
in between the biking. So exactly, Sabina's mom and stepdad, they visited Almaty. My parents and my brothers came to Sri Lanka for a short summer holiday. So that was nice. But in the end, it was almost 1.5 year.
Yeah.
Wow, that is incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you any idea how many kilometers you covered during that 1.5 year?
I don't
We
know.
No.
get this question quite often, but we never really did the math, and it's
No.
also a bit difficult to calculate because we hitchhiked parts in the desert in
Mm,
Kazakhstan,
Sometimes we
uh,
took a train.
yeah, or a
Uh,
ferry.
yeah.
got you.
Yeah, I guess
What
we
an
could,
epic
we could
adventure.
draw a
Oh
line
my,
and see how
We
many
can
kilometers
probably
it
check
is.
our Strava or
Yeah,
something, but yeah.
oh my God! I never realized that you were gone for such a long time. That is so so incredible. Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty insane. Also, I think where we started in Georgia, we flew to Tbilisi, and then we went up to the mountains. And I had never cycled on a hill before, even let alone a mountain. And then with all those heavy panniers, it was kind of a brutal awakening. But
in retrospect, it was probably a bit too optimistic, especially because we picked a bikepacking route from the website bikepacking.com. and it's insanely hard. It's with hiker bike
Yeah,
sessions
they
and
give
everything.
these difficulty levels on a scale from 1 to 10, and I think this one was a 9 out of 10. And we thought we could do that with our bike pack or with our touring bikes, with our panniers. It was absolutely
Wow,
impossible. We got quite far, but then we ended up hitching a ride back so
so
that we could continue cycling on the a little bit more normal gravel roads instead of straight
got
through
you.
mountains.
So let's be honest. How many times did you actually think about quitting and just no? I'm going home to Sweden. I'm going home to the Netherlands or something like that. When did that ever happen?
No, I don't think ever about going home because we were always thinking about going forward. We were always planning ahead, going to the next destination. So when it would really become too much, then it would usually be a bit too much for me. And then I would say, okay, I'm hitching a ride and we're going to the next destination because the next part is going to be easier, or we are meeting some people that are also cycling there, or, there's always like the next part is a bit more looking attractive than the really tough climb that you have exactly in front of you. But never really to go home because we didn't have a home.
We
Yeah, you
sold,
left
we
it.
sold pretty much all our belongings. Sabina sold her car. We quit the rent of our house. We
Yeah,
quit our jobs. So there wasn't really something left besides our parents' family. But
That is
they were
so
coming
super
to
brave to do something like that.
us.
yeah,
But tell me, I mean, this year and a half, it must kind of have forged, to use such a strong word, your relationship to each other. But how there must have been difficulties as well. And but is there anything that you want to speak about those kind of hard times or learnings that you did as a couple?
The good thing about it is that even when you're super mad at each other because you're tired, you're hungry, uh, you still need each other because one person has the tent, the other person has the cooking gear. So you need to fix it together. You need to solve it. You need to talk it out. And I think we are both very good at talking, but also listening. And that's just very important. You need to not only say your own thing, you of course need to say your own thing as well and be heard, but also hear what the other person has to say and adapt to that and just adapt to each other.
yeah. And most of the
True.
time it's okay because you have a lot of highs and a lot of lows.
Mm.
And as long as those lows are you don't have them at the same time, then it's then it's okay. Then you could survive. If it's happening at the same time, then it's
Yeah, that makes it harder.
yeah, then it's difficult.
Yeah. So, for example, um, when traveling in these types of countries takes quite a big chunk out of your health as well. Robin was hospitalized for a bit even because he was completely dehydrated because he had a bacteria in his stomach. And that just takes a
Oh
lot
my
of
God.
energy. And yeah, that, I mean, the hygiene levels is just different than what we are used to here. So you get sick. It's quite normal for people traveling in these countries, but also, yeah, of course, for the people that live there as well. So then it's always good to have someone that is taking care of you. But if you have that at the same time, that would make it a lot
Yeah.
harder. I don't think we had that really.
Don't think so either.
But
No.
let's leave the hardship behind and talk about the highs. I can only assume that there are so many great memories. There are so many great things sort of to think about what happened. But can you speak to me and just talk to me about a few of those? What was sort of some of those really sort of super
The,
moments that you guys experienced?
yeah, so the literal highest point, that was also for me the biggest highlight of the trip, and that was at 6,000. No,
You always keep saying six, but it's actually only
oh, sorry,
5,416 meters.
5,460 meters. That's the highest point we reached during our trip with the bikes. And that was just such a cool experience to push your bike for 2 weeks. You have this one pass that you're working towards, and you're doing it with a group of friends and together. And then you're up on this Nepalese mountain, And then you're up on this mountain in Nepal. Uh, it's on the Annapurna circuit track, so not on top of the Annapurna. That would be a bit too hard. But the Annapurna circuit track, it goes around the Annapurna. It's a jeep track, and then the highest part is only a hiking trail. And we thought it would be cool to take our bikes over it. So we did it
Wow.
in
We
2 weeks.
heard stories of people who biked it before,
Yeah.
and back then, that was in 2019, there wasn't much information about it online on blogs and stuff like that. So we just decided
Yeah, there was one blog.
to give it a go.
Yeah. There was one blog about it and we saw it and we just thought it was so
So
cool. And
did
actually, I was convincing everyone in the group to do it. Everyone was a bit hesitant, but I thought, no, we just have to do it. And then at that point, when you reach the highest part and you just see snow peaks and all these prayer flags in the wind, yeah, it was really a special experience.
awesome.
Yeah.
You're talking about this group. I guess this also sort of that you found people that you rode with. I guess that was not planned. Are you still kind of friends with these people at this point in time? Do you still keep in contact?
It was quite an international group. We rode a big part with an American couple. We actually met them in Delhi,
In
in
India.
India, and we rode all the way to Nepal, to Pokhara, to the start of this route.
And Sam, who we
And
later
Sam,
on met in Bali again.
an Irish guy, and there was a Swiss guy as well, which
Yeah.
we bumped into somewhere in Nepal.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
it's, you make a lot of friendships on the road and you have really good memories of those, but it's not like you then meet up again every year or like that. You just have those memories and maybe you follow each other on Strava or you follow the other person's blog. And uh, but yeah, it's just the memories that you make together on the road. But I think that's also the beautiful part about traveling. It's the people you meet, and
yeah,
also that there's, it's so you don't have to do anything for those people. It's just so free, and that makes that everyone can be very free. There's no you're not counting on each other to do something. So yeah.
Cool. I just have to ask as well. Like, it's impossible to plan such a route, right? I mean, you said that you had something off of bikepacking.com, and that sort of, I guess, that provided some kind of guidance. But there must have been research that you had to do on the fly as well, like next week, next month, whatnot.
yeah.
How do you do that? How did that work?
That is also where that Instagram account came in very handy, because we were talking to a lot of other people and just following other people that were already writing it. Like to this day, we still get a lot of questions from people where they ask us, like, "Hey, you were cycling here and here. How was the roads? Can I book hotels? Can I?" Sometimes also questions like, "Okay, you can Google that," but but otherwise, it's fun to help people get on the road. And I think that is also what we really like about working. We've been working with Komoot for a little bit, making collections, for example, and really sharing the routes that we did. We do that on our website as well. So when we've traveled somewhere, we really try to like share that information again, so that when someone else is planning a bikepacking trip there, that they can, yeah, just make, they can look on our website and there is actually information out there. There's quite a lot.
Hmm.
And in
Cool.
a lot of cases, there's just one option. That's
Yeah.
we followed the Pamir Highway, which is a road between Tajikistan and Afghanistan, and there's just one option. You just follow the road, and you can't get lost.
Were you never afraid? I mean, these places they have some instabilities, right? At least nowadays, and they have had in the past as well. Afghanistan has been a very sort of yeah, a rough place to be for many reasons. Were you ever afraid that there was any sort of
We
bad stuff happening?
I've never felt unsafe, and back then I think Afghanistan was a little better than it's doing now. That's a fact. but you could see guards marching across the river on the Afghan side, and sometimes we even hear gunfire when we. That's something I remember
We
one
just told
evening.
ourselves it was celebratory fire. They weren't fighting. That was just people cheering. They were just happy.
Yeah, I
Wow.
remember one evening we pitched our tent, and it was on the other side of the valley. We heard gunshots, and it does make you wonder what.
Yeah, that time we also had a flashlight shining on our tent, and we had the bikes with all the reflective parts on it, so like we couldn't really hide. That was the only time during the trip that I was a bit scared, but otherwise
Okay.
people were very friendly. I think they tried to bribe us once, but and they came to us like cigarettes, cigarettes, and we just, oh no, we don't smoke, bye. And they were just so confused that we continued cycling, and like that was the worst of it.
Wow. But let's switch gears a little bit. So, back in Sweden, I know that you have now done a bunch of different other kinds of bike packing, like small, long, short, out doing like credit card bike packing is it called, right, as well, and stuff like
It
that.
was
So
nice.
tell me, I mean, bike packing is like asking someone what is gravel. It's kind of also asking what is bike packing. I guess it's just such a wide variety. But tell me, what's bike packing for you guys, and what's the difference in between the different kind of variants?
Yeah, it's a good question, because I guess when you look at bikepacking online, it's like it's traveling on a bike, and it has to be super extreme. You need to bring a tent, and you need to cross like a high mountain pass. I don't think it has to be that complicated. It can be as easy, just bring one small bag of clothing and go out on a small little overnighter somewhere. It's just fun traveling by bike, go out. And
Even if you're just going to a friend that lives in another city and you're going there by bike and you have a small bag or even a backpack, you have some stuff with you for to spend the night. Like that's already bike packing. You are already traveling by bicycle.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this myself because I don't have all of the kind of gear that you guys have, but I have some bags that I can put on the bike, and of course I have a backpack, right? And but I've been thinking about doing something like that, but I never did it, and I feel so like
What's stopping you? What's holding you back?
exactly. Just
you
need to get it done.
yeah, and you could just start by booking a bed and breakfast somewhere,
Yeah,
and
just
Hmm.
right
booking
there
something that
you'll be surprised how many new roads you're exploring in your home area. If you start from home, ride 100 kilometers somewhere, maybe less even, it's like a whole new world. And then you sleep there, have breakfast, right
I've
back the same morning, and you have a I guarantee you have a great adventure.
yeah, I think that sometimes you can get a little bit stuck in the planning phase. We also have that. You want to plan everything into the details, and then in with yeah being perfectionist, it just doesn't happen because then the moment passes or you get different priorities, and then it just doesn't happen. So really just booking something, if it's a flight or if it's a hotel or a bed and breakfast or like something, just setting a date and committing to that, just going out there. And of course, yeah, maybe you can, when it's really bad weather, you can choose to change it, or you will not die from a little bit of rain. So you can also still go, because I think that the trips where we had the worst weather, we still had very good memories of it. For example, last year with New Year's, think that was a pretty good bikepacking trip.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for those tips. I really need to get out on the bike to do something like that. That would be so epic. Yeah. Do you have any other sort of get started tips? Any other sort of recommendations, or for us that's complete newbies like myself,
I really think it,
or things that you shouldn't do, maybe?
yes, I think it really doesn't matter what type of bike you have or what type of bags you have. It's just really to do what is in within your reach. So if you already have a fast gravel bike and a bike packing bag because you might use it when you, on your daily commute, well, then you have a perfect credit card bike packing setup. Or if you already have camping gear because you already do some hiking sometimes, well, then you just need to get maybe a pannier or a backpack or something that would be within your price range or within what you are looking at already probably. And then you can get it and yeah, do a super cool bikepacking and camping adventure. It's really just about getting out and doing it, and maybe seeing if you have friends that already do it, that maybe you can borrow some stuff from them before actually committing to buying stuff, because the equipment is quite expensive. But there's a lot of secondhand stuff available as well. So yeah, doing what is in within your reach.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much. Um, I was snooping around on your webpage as well a little bit just to do a little bit of research. And am I understanding it correctly that you're kind of combining business and pleasure as well to some extent? That that you're doing some kind of jobs for brands, but at the same time, sort of doing your trips, or
It's
how?
yeah, it's we do this mostly for fun. We don't really earn an income or something from it. No, it's because we like to write stories. I like to photograph. We like to showcase it to inspire people, and we sometimes we're getting approached by companies or by brands if we want to highlight a product or something. But we're not getting paid, so it's not a business thing in that
No, I think the
matter.
main thing what we've been getting is discounts on products of stuff that we already wanted to buy. So, for example, when we were planning the trip, the long trip, we were talking to an importer of outdoor equipment in the Netherlands, and they said, "Well, if you're gonna do this blog anyway, we can give you like a 50% discount on the camping gear." Yeah, of course, that's perfect, because if you want to go on a longer trip and it's just making sure that we have a little bit more money left to actually spend on the trip. So that is actually really cool that it has kind of enabled our adventures in a bit. But when we were on the trip, we were thinking, okay, do we want to do this full time and really make this our work? But yeah, no, and I don't really see us doing that, because then all of a sudden you have very different expectations on you as well. And we are just really doing what we think is fun. And if we don't want to post a blog for 6 months, we don't want to have any brands knocking on our door and saying, hey, why didn't you do anything? So yeah.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that because that's how I do it as well, right? I don't live off of this. This is just my hobby. I do it for fun, and I don't have any obligations. So I think and you just use the stuff that you like yourself. There's no kind of commitments or bad feelings in any kind of way back and forth, and you don't have to push things to people.
Yeah,
And yeah,
it
it's just
also makes it
much more honesty, right?
it
Yeah,
also makes it much easier to say no to brands that are reaching out to us that we just not interested in. Like, okay,
Mm,
no, don't need it. Yeah.
makes
So
yeah.
total sense.
So we don't write reviews or stuff like that, and we don't like take brand photos of stuff and publish it on our website. It's like maybe a fun story is that we did a trip to Oslo a couple of months ago. We got a couple of rental bikes, and we got them in exchange of taking some photos for them.
yeah.
Yeah, perfect. It's a great deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's basically how it works.
We
So
wanted to
it's
try the bikes anyway. We were gonna make a blog anyway, so it's a good deal for us.
I guess it's a win-win for both. So
Yeah.
that's perfectly fine.
That's a nice segue to my next question. So, is it Robin? Is it only you that's holding the camera, or because you are on some pictures some now and then as well? And Sabina, when you pick it up, what's the expectation from Robin's side? Does he give you direction and or what? What's
sometimes
It's a good question.
sometimes he does. Sometimes, well, it depends. If the cycling is really tough, then I am not interested in taking photos at all. I am just completely focused and tired. And then Robin can get a little bit upset sometimes. Like, I also want to be on a picture sometime. It's not just, yeah, I mean, everybody wants to have a nice picture of themselves, right? And sometimes he really already has something in mind, but usually I cannot get it out the same way that he can. So I usually just say, okay, give me the camera and I will take some shots. And it usually turns out okay. It's good that you are good in Lightroom. No Photoshop. We don't use any Photoshop.
No, it's okay. You take some nice photos as well.
I practiced a
Yeah.
lot, but under dwang, hoe zeg je dat? Under force. He
Yeah.
forced me a bit sometimes.
Yeah,
But
but it is mostly me behind the camera.
And it's funny because when we started the blog, it was mostly then Robin taking the photographs, and I did all the writing. But you started writing a lot as well, and now it's actually you who does most of the writing. Yeah, yeah.
okay, interesting. But I must say, Robin, I need to give you some. No, I mean, no offense, Sabina, but Robin, he has a great eye. He has there's a talent there, no doubt. Some great photography. There's super nice pictures.
Thank you.
But when it
So
comes
yeah,
to
it's
action, you
it's
can really
it
see
is
it.
amazing to look at.
Yeah.
But just for those maybe camera nerds out there, what's your gear? What's your choice of weapon?
It's a good question actually, because I recently switched brands. I previously I shot Fujifilm, and
Hmm.
now I switched to Ricoh. But my thing, the camera, what I'm enjoying the most shooting with is a camera with a prime lens. So it's with a for the camera nerds among us, it's with a fixed focal length, so you
Yeah,
can't zoom. And
exactly.
for me, that really works super creative, boosting. It's like it makes me think how to compose. It makes me be a bit more adventurous and climb up somewhere, so you can get a different angle than just zoom.
Yeah, you need
Uh,
to zoom with your legs
yeah, exactly. Basically, yeah, or your wheels.
or your wheels. Yeah, exactly. Now, what it's nice, you can get a much better aperture, right, and much better bokeh on if you have those fixed lenses.
Yeah,
Now,
the lenses
maybe
are.
I'm speaking outside of my territory here, but
No, it is correct, and the lenses are usually sharper as well, so you get a more clear, crisp image.
And
and
it's always
you're only carrying that one camera, that one lens, nothing else with you.
On the big trip, we had actually two cameras with us, but now I mostly have just one camera with me.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah,
Because sometimes it feels like you have sort of multiple lenses or something because you just get you're so good at finding angles and yeah, as you say, how to compose the pictures.
yeah. Shooting with a prime lens now kind of makes me want to get a camera with a zoom lens again. But I think what really what I try to do is I rarely just take one single photo, but I think in a series. So
Hmm.
if I see an interesting scene, then I take a couple of shots from different angles, different distances, and then you kind of get a story immediately then already, even without putting words or a text with the photos.
Awesome,
It's so
awesome.
funny always when we are cycling in a group and you want to take photos as well. Sometimes you have to sprint ahead a little bit. And for me, I know it. When we are cycling and all of a sudden Robin picks up the pace, I know, okay, he wants to take a photo. At the beginning, I would get quite frustrated because I would already be maybe a little bit, and I liked the pace we were riding at. And then he would just shoot ahead. But at one point I learned, okay, I will see him in a couple of 100 meters, and then he will be standing in the bushes with his camera, getting ready to take a shot. But when we were cycling in a group, a lot of the people, they think, nice sprint. So it's sometimes a challenge, and you get all the forever butt photos.
Yeah,
You have to be a lot faster than the rest of
yeah,
the group if you want to be able
yeah,
to get ahead to set up the photograph.
yeah,
I can imagine. I can I can only imagine. I mean, I ride mostly by myself, so I would love to have ride someone ride me with me, so I can take pictures of them and they can take pictures of me. But yeah, that's that's how it is. Um, how do you go about sort of choosing your destinations? Because I know that you've been where I'm from in around Halmstad, Halland. You've been in Dalsland. You mentioned that you went to Norway just now. How do you choose your destinations when you go on your bikepacking trips now?
You read a lot of blogs about bikepacking and you follow a lot of people online or on social media, and we just get inspiration from those, yeah, those sources.
yeah. And I really love maps. I really like looking at maps. I can watch look at maps all day and just zoom in and out and drag back and forth.
So
It's something
do
I
you
really.
use? I heard that you talked about Komoot. I'm not so well versed with Komoot, but is that your as well the tool that you use for maps, or do you use different ones for different reasons or purposes? Or
Komoot is one of the tools I'm using. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's definitely a useful program to create your adventures. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
because within Komoot you can see highlights that other people have created. So people will post some photos, they will write some information about it. So if you see on the map that there is a lot of red little dots, you know that it's a nice area to be adventuring in, because yeah, other people have already been there and they thought it was so nice that they actually took the time to create the highlights. And then you can also see collections that other people made, and that is just a collection of different routes, and that is usually then a journey, or it can also be a collection of different routes in one area. So we do that as well. Sometimes we travel somewhere and then we do rides from one place, or we do really an A to B journey. We did that, for example, with the credit card journey in Italy. That was really a round trip, and before that, we went to Girona, and there we cycled from the Roca Corba guest house, which is absolutely amazing guest house for cyclists. Yeah, so like there's not one type of cycling or bike travel. You can do a lot of different types, really what suits you.
You see a lot of awesome things coming out of Girona, right in that area. So I'm a little bit envious that you guys went there, and I never been there yet. But yeah, it's on my bucket list. So let's see. I maybe I'll do my first bikepacking there. Who knows?
You should.
what
Oh yeah.
what's coming in the future now, guys? What's in the calendar for 2024?
We would like to go on some adventures that are a bit closer to home. So we're not getting back to Kyrgyzstan or to Indonesia, but we'd like to explore parts of Sweden a bit more. We'd like to go to Norway. I think Norway is pretty cool for biking adventures as well.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think Scandinavia, we are here now, but we are in the most southern tip, like you said. And there's such a adventure just north from us. We need to explore it. But we have never been more northern than Stockholm, which is crazy. And you think, oh, that's actually quite far up north, but it's not even the middle of Sweden yet.
Exactly, it's like one third up, or not even.
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
So we really want to discover more of Scandinavia.
It is truly beautiful up there. I used when I was a kid, when I was around 5, 6, 7 years old, I lived up by the polar circle at a place called Jokkmokk for 5 years.
Oh,
Ah,
wow.
cool.
And
Okay.
I remember to this day some of those things up there when you saw the northern lights, all the reindeers and the forest with all the blueberries. It was just incredible. It's yeah, beautiful. So you go up north. It's nice.
Yeah, sounds amazing. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, really
yeah.
looking forward to it.
Awesome. This has been a blast. I want to ask you a last question, and this is where I usually put sort of switch the table around a little bit, and I ask if you have a question for me.
I have one question. So you have obviously already been fantasizing about going bikepacking somewhere. Where?
Oh, uh, yeah. I mean, I did mention it. I've been thinking about something in Spain. I think that would be awesome. I spent so much time on the island of Mallorca, which I love, but the mainland of Spain I have never really explored. So I think that would be a destination. And so seeing the Traca, seeing those places, it just looks so freaking epic.
Yeah.
So if I could, I think that would probably be one of those destinations that I would have really high up on the list.
And I
Uh,
think then you already have a route, right? Because you can just see what people did in the race and you will already
What
have a,
race?
or in the Traca is not a race.
Ah, okay, yeah. But it's yeah,
But there's a lot of events organized in Spain.
might be a little too short for a bikepacking trip.
Can combine them
It's
together.
2 days.
I'm not as fast as those Tracker guys, so
You don't have to do it in a racing style, right? That's the
Nah,
nice
okay,
part. You
nah,
can
okay. It's
see.
it's 360K, so it's yeah. You could, I don't know, maybe
Do you have a tip for a
spread
longer
it out
one?
over 4 days.
Do you have any
exactly.
tips for Marcus?
If you wanna do a cool bikepacking route in Spain, I would check out a route called Montanas Vacias.
Mm-hmm. Never heard about.
It starts and finishes in Teruel. It's in the center part, not far from Madrid, and it's in
Uh-huh.
an area what and they call it Spanish Lapland because it has the same population density as parts of Lapland.
Oh, really? So there's like no people there.
Exactly. Exactly.
So these are the trips that Robin always plans, but honestly, they are the best ones. It's just hard.
And
Awesome.
another thing they have in common, by the way, is here in Sweden and in Scandinavia, we have wind shelters.
Ah, yeah, that's
So it's
right.
like the wooden structures where you can camp in, and you have
Yeah.
those ones. You have those ones in Spain as well along that route. They're
Oh,
called.
really? I thought that was really something more Scandinavian that we did here.
I thought
Oh,
so
that's
too. But
awesome.
apparently, it's a thing in Spain as well.
So
They're
where
called.
you can make your fire there, and you can sort of you can sleep a little bit secure. Oh, that's
Exactly.
awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
So you have
That
a plan for summer.
exactly. Well, thank you guys. This has been a blast. I've learned so much that I had no idea about. So thank you very much for sharing. It's been a true blessing to have you join this whatever I call it. I will find some word I can put in here. And now I need to edit this because it becomes awkward. No, thank you very much. This has been awesome.
And let's
I
meet up
really hope that we
for
get to see each other in real life again soon again.
yeah, let's meet up for a ride soon because it's long overdue.
It is.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Maybe
Robin. Thank you,
the Dirty
Sabina.
Haaland or something.
Yeah,
Say again.
Maybe the Dirty Haaland.
Yes, I would love to do that.
that's a
That's
good.
usually in March somewhere, end March, approximately.
It's the last week of March. It's quite
Uh,
early in the season when the shape isn't that great yet. But
If
if I'm not in Mallorca, then yeah.
yeah,
we'll see you
cool. Yeah, let us know.
then.
And thanks for having us. It was really fun.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Have a good evening.
See you, Marcus.
Oh wow, that was amazing. I cannot understand how brave they were to be able to go through all those countries doing the things that they did and staying away from home a year and a half, leaving everything behind. I don't know if I have the heart or the brain or the braveness to do something like that. Wow, you have all of the kudos that I can ever give. It's amazing. Let me know how you think about bikepacking. Is it nice? Is it not? Is it something that you want to do? Is it something that you have on your bucket list? Let me know in the comments below. And be sure to hit that subscribe and like button if you like what you saw. You can see more content like this. Until next time, guys. Bye.